Hey, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video of mine. Welcome to another conversation that you and I get to have across the screen and across time. It's one of the most exciting things for me about making these videos and putting them out there for the world is that, I can talk to a camera and have a conversation with someone maybe I've never met at a time that I don't know, and maybe have the chance to connect with someone that way or speak some truth into their life. So I'm excited to do that again today. If you watched my video from about a week and a half ago, I mentioned that there were bugs everywhere. It's the summer, the bugs are out. I'm sitting by a lot of plants. That's where the bugs like to be. So I mentioned that there were bugs and that I would have to be swatting them throughout the whole video. And today I left my house to go record this, and I was like, I should bring my bug spray, being the prepared young man that I am. So I went back inside, grabbed my bug spray, and then came here. And before I set anything up, I went to, douse myself in the stuff so that I didn't have to deal with the bugs. And my bug spray is empty. So that was unfortunate. So I will issue the same disclaimer that I gave last time, but if you see me swatting at bugs or touching my face, that's why. So I tried to prepare for this. That's all I can control, I guess. Maybe I can buy more bug spray in the future, but you are not here to listen to me talk about bug spray. In terms of my life right now, I finished my third week of full-time big boy employment, and in my last video, I know I mentioned kind of the shock of going into this bland room with no windows and sitting down at a desk by myself, and kind of just this welcome to adulting that I wasn't expecting. Real adulting post-college that I wasn't really prepared for. And uh, I still sit at the same desk. I still don't have any windows, and I still eat the same thing for lunch every day. But I have been able to actually work on some things that are a little interesting, and that has helped my days go by a little quicker. I've been able to meet a couple of my coworkers and eat lunch with them and get to know them a little bit, uh, become a little bit more of a world traveler without actually going anywhere. A lot of my coworkers are from other countries, so that's exciting for me to be able to talk to them. In one day I can have a conversation with someone from Germany and Peru and the UK, all in the same day, which is cool. I was in a really vulnerable spot last week, and honestly, I still am. But I have been noticing a lot of repeated themes coming up this past week, and just like the other weeks, is something that I not only want to share with you, but also share with myself and process with myself along with you. So thank you for doing that with me today. There's been a word that I keep thinking of that keeps coming back to me. It's a word that I do not like. I don't like having this word keep coming back to me. The word is waiting. The word is waiting. And that's a little bit what we're going to talk about today. I feel like I am very much in a period of waiting right now. A transitional period where, excuse me, a transitional period where things aren't, my circumstances aren't what I would call ideal. And I've been really wrestling with, what does it look like to be in a season of waiting? How do I wait well? How do I respond to the hand that I've been dealt well? And what is God's part to play in waiting? What's my part to play? All of these things. These things have really been on my mind the past week and a half. Along with that has been discontent. I've felt very discontent with waiting. Like I said, it's not something that I want to do, not something that I like doing. I look around and I see so many people around me, my friends, people on social media, my roommates. I see them, and honestly, they at least look like they're having a lot more fun with this life thing than me. And I know that what's on the surface is often not the true reality, and I know that everyone is struggling with something in the world that we live in. But not only do people look like they're having more fun and that they're happier than me, things are happening in people's lives that I wish were happening in mine. People are posting about jobs they're really excited to work for. People are posting their engagement pictures, or even less than that, just posting about being, in a relationship that they love. People are posting or talking about going out with their friends and having these good times with their friends. And so often I don't feel that way. I feel like I have to wait for those things to happen to me. And in a very logical sense, I do, because some of those things are not my situation right now. But at the same time, even as I say that right now, I think about different fun things that I've been able to do, little sparks of what I'm looking for that are really, really great and fun, but in comparison to how I feel most days, are so easily drowned out by those things. Like just a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to a basketball game with my brother and one of my friends, and go shopping afterwards and spend a weekend with those guys, and that was legitimately very fun. And I'm kind of kicking myself mentally right now for saying, like, oh man, I just feel so discontent, and I don't like waiting, and I'm not happy with the way my life is going right now. And both things can be true in a weird way. Like I want to hold myself to a high standard, because God holds us all to the highest standard. So I want to live according to that standard the best I can, following the Bible and things the best I can. So when I make mistakes, I'm hard on myself, but at the same time, there is a grace in understanding that, in knowing that I can never reach that expectation and still being okay with the fact that I'm trying and giving myself time to wait for the things that I'm waiting for. So this actually isn't the Bible verse I wanted to talk about today, but it seems like my video is being hijacked, and we're going to talk about this instead. So yeah, in the book of James, chapter 1, starting with verse 2, I'm going to read that because I think it definitely applies to what I just said. So, James 1, starting with verse 2, here we go. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy." Pause. That's crazy. But we'll talk about it. Verse 3. "For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing." Yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy. When, James, the half-brother of Jesus, who initially didn't believe that his brother was the Son of God, but eventually came around, wrote this letter, and this is one of the first things he has to say to the new Christians in the first century. He says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy." A few things jump out to me right away with that. First off, like I said, that's crazy. Since when has anyone felt great joy when hard things come their way? Like, oh man, I'm so excited for this tragedy to happen in my life so that my character can be strengthened and that I can learn patience. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yet it's the first thing that James says here. "For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance, your patience, has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing." So, like I said, I didn't prepare this verse, but this is what we're going to talk about today. But when our faith is tested, it's an opportunity for us to grow. And in my life, my faith has been tested. I mentioned last week that, I mentioned feeling my heart being tempted to think that, Jesus isn't close to me right now, that he's forgotten about me, that somehow he's not in control right now, and that I'm the exception. And that is very much my faith being tested, because it's not wrong for me to feel that way, but it is wrong for me to believe that based on my feelings, and to trust my feelings so strongly that I would go back on something that I know to be true. Somewhere in my heart, there's a part of me that wants to give up. And I have to believe that God still is there, even when I don't feel it. I have to believe in something that I can't see instead of something that I am experiencing. That's faith. And walking by faith and not by sight, it's been the story and the ask of my life right now. I have been noticing myself given these opportunities to have more faith. It's taken a conscious mental effort for me to decide that that's what I'm going to do. Like I wanted to just feel or just know or have something click with me, have this moment of serenity where I'm, laying on my back on my bed in the dark, and all of a sudden the universe makes sense. That's what I wanted. But in reality, I'm finding myself, instead of having that moment, having a moment where I am making the mental flip in my mind, where I'm deciding to have faith. I'm deciding that even though I'm in a period of waiting for things that I want, that I will wait. Instead of being in a period of waiting regardless and not waiting well. And it's been an opportunity for my endurance and my patience to be tested, which I do not like. Because it's hard. It's not easy. And I know that as more time goes on, I'll be able to look at myself right now and say, oh, you weren't waiting very long. You weren't waiting very long. But right now it feels like I'm waiting a long time. A long time. Today, during one of my breaks at work, I pulled up some football highlights because there hasn't been football in too long and I want to watch some football. And I'm a Vikings fan, so I pull up some Vikings game highlights, and I'm watching highlights of the Minnesota Vikings play the Indianapolis Colts 2022 season in one of the most upsetting and also most fun games that I've ever watched. So, I promise this is relevant. I promise. But I'm watching this game, and the Colts go down and score right away. And then the Vikings make a mistake, and the Colts score again. And the Vikings make another mistake, and the Colts score again. And all of a sudden, you look up, and it's 33-0. And the teams are going into halftime. And all the commentators are like, the largest lead in NFL history, the largest comeback that's ever happened is, I don't remember what it was, 29 points, 30 points. So no one has ever come back 33-0 at halftime. And at the time when I was watching the game a couple years ago live, I was very disappointed. I was like, this sucks. Like, my favorite team is getting blown out. Like, I don't even know if I want to watch anymore. I don't even know. Like, is this worth it to just be disappointed and continually be disappointed whenever the thing that I want doesn't happen? But the story of that game is the Vikings come out at halftime and they score. And they get a defensive stop and they score again. And they get a defensive stop and they score again. And they score again and they score again. And then all of a sudden, the game is tied. And the Vikings eventually go to overtime with the Colts and win the game on a game-winning field goal. Largest comeback in NFL history. Of course, that's the game that I would go back to watch highlights in hindsight, because I remember watching it live and I remember how excited I was when the game went from 33-0 to 33-7 to 36-14, all the way to 36-36, and then eventually 39-36. And when I was watching the first half live, I was so upset. But as I'm watching the highlights of this game now, today, and I'm watching the Colts score, I'm not upset at all. I'm not upset at all. Because I know what happens. Because I know that the Vikings, they win the game. And that from halftime to the end of the game, pretty much all I'm going to watch is the exciting plays of my team doing well, doing what I want them to do. The outcome that I want to happen. And that is profound for the situation of life I'm in. I actually had this thought as I was watching these highlights today. I understood I'm not upset that the Colts are scoring at all, because I know how it ends. I know how the story ends. And I hope in this life, I hope that I've already, this is going to sound weird, I hope that I've already hit that halftime. Not that I only want to live to 42, that's not what I'm saying, but I hope that I've already hit the halftime where all of these bad things are behind me. I know that's not realistic, but if I could choose, that's what I would pick. And to have all of these good things out in front of me. Realistically, my life is gonna be both. It's gonna be, honestly, a lot of mistakes. A lot of things that I wish I didn't do, things that I wish I didn't say. That's the nature of being human, and it sucks. It sucks to be learning things now that if I only would have known and implemented in the past, things could have maybe been different. But even if I go to the extreme and my whole life here on Earth is the first half of the Colts game, and I put a 0 on the scoreboard, if that's my halftime, and, my 80 years are my halftime, I'm going to live a lot more than 80 years in the second half. I'm going to live a lot more than 80 years in the second half. And that assurance, it chokes me up. That in this moment right now, I'm able to understand that I do know how it ends. I do know how it ends. And that right now, what I am being asked of is to wait and to know that God is God and I am me, and to know that what I can control is my response to hardship, how I love people now, how I treat people now, how I share Jesus and the gospel with people now, in light of knowing that someday, either tomorrow or decades from now, it will be the second half. It will be the comeback. And I can be assured of that. I remember watching this game. I was watching it by myself. And a bunch of my roommates were home. They were in their bedrooms or whatever. And the Vikings got within one touchdown late in the game. And I jumped up off the couch and I'm like smacking the wall. I'm like, the Vikings are coming back. They're going to do it. And then 10 minutes later, they tie the game. And I run out of the room where I was watching the game. And I run upstairs and I start running into my roommates' rooms. And I'm saying, the Vikings tied the game. The Vikings tied the game. So why don't I live like that right now? I can choose to live like that right now if I want. That's not easy. Life is a much grander scale than football. But it's a good question. I don't want to have to wait for the good things to start happening for me to respond with that innate joy. So often that's how it works, because I'm a weak man who doesn't have things figured out and who often makes mistakes. But it's definitely something to think about. And if you are struggling with something, and if you're a follower of Jesus, like, you can ask yourself the same question. Like, if I know how it's going to end, how do I live in response to knowing that? So, yeah. Gosh, I sit and I talk, and it's like, it feels like I just talked for 10 minutes, but then I look over at my computer and I've been running this recording for over 30 minutes. So that's what I got today. I'll just read these verses again. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. So if you're in a season of waiting, like me, try your hardest and be okay with yourself if you can't do this. But try your hardest to see it as an opportunity for growth, joy, as hard as that seems, and a deeper understanding of what is to come. The best truly is yet to come. And I hope that soon circumstances change so that it's easier for me to feel happy. But my faith is not built on that. My faith is in the Lord and what He has already done and what I know He will do. So, blessings to you wherever you find this. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, God bless. I'll see you later.